the Middle East as one of the hubs to
Right.
showcase their flagship stores. The stores have just gotten bigger and bigger.
How did all this happen 20 years back or 25 years back when you started this entire thing? How did you get into this?
And when I came into the business right out of university, my dad needed the extra hand. The business was growing fast.
Yeah.
And I saw that there was this niche that, we could probably capitalize on and sort of make our mark in it.
Welcome to another episode of Bridgeway Talks. We are in Dubai. We are at the World Trade Center, Sheikh Zayed Road. As you all know, we are at the global headquarters of Bridgeway as a group. And we have a lot of things happening in Dubai. 50 years ago, we started Bridgeway from Abu Dhabi, which shifted into Dubai with the global headquarters happening in Dubai and all that. You all know what the background of Bridgeway is. And today we are very honored to have somebody very special with us. I've been part of the luxury industry, or how do you call it? You can't call luxury as an industry. I think it's a luxury vertical over the last 25, 30 years. And for me, I think luxury, trying to understand luxury from different point of views as a customer, as a vendor, as a producer, it's always been very difficult, because everybody understands luxury in a very different term. Even when we sell cars, luxury is very, very different for different people. So in Kerala, it might be a very different concept. In other parts of India or globe, it might be a very different concept. But today we are going to talk to somebody who is probably directly involved with pure luxury. So when you're talking about pure luxury, I'm very, very sure people who are listening to me would understand what pure luxury is. Pure luxury is to do with the likes of LVMH, your Louis Vuittons, your Gucci's, your YSLs. Those are the kind which probably pioneered luxury over a period, and today they've all got a pedigree of being very fine, being very elegant. When you talk about LVMH, every product it is luxury. It's probably something which you don't have to describe to anybody saying it. We are talking to somebody who is in direct connection with all these brands over a period of last 25, 30 years. He's been doing this. What he's been doing with this, he will tell you, because it's more important that he tells you what he does with all these brands. So not talking too much about myself and what he does, we will introduce him directly. Anand sir, thank you so much for coming to B-Talks. Yes. It's a pleasure, and it's a Sunday, and you took your time off to come over here, sit with us, talk to us. I think it's been absolutely nice, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. And when I spoke about LVMH, when I spoke about Gucci, when it's some of these brands you talk about it, right? You
Yes.
rarely go and actually understand what these brands are all about.
Yes.
Now, give us a brief about how are you connected with these brands? What do you do for these brands? And, how have you reached there? Because these brands are brands which will always look forward to something very unique. And you have been doing this for the last 25 years, if I'm not wrong. And how has this journey been, and what do you do for them, sir?
Sure.
Please.
Sure. So, Girish, thank you so much for having
Anytime,
me.
sir.
And, nice to coordinate with your team and get here. And I guess welcome to the new luxury capital of the world, Dubai.
Absolutely.
So great to have you here. And just to give you a brief introduction to what we do at ABRA. So we build shop fits for luxury brands.
Oh, okay.
So that's in a nutshell, how we are very entrenched with the luxury industry.
Right.
And as you rightly said, we're working with some of the top brands in the space.
Yeah.
And it so happened that over the last 20 odd years, they have started using Dubai or the Middle East as one of the hubs to showcase their flagship stores. The stores have just gotten bigger and bigger.
Right.
I think when we started, it was difficult to find a LVMH boutique in this part of the world.
Right.
But over the last few years, they've opened up so many.
Right.
And yeah, this is not to say, not to specify any one brand.
Right.
But if you look at the malls in the region, they've really upped the game. And
Right.
I mean, you can say from traveling and comparison, even if you're not a luxury consumer, you can just see the real difference when you walk into the malls here.
Absolutely.
It's a class apart.
Yeah.
And you know, we've found ourselves fortunate to be part of that industry, and we've sort of organically grown with the city. Yeah.
So how did this happen in the initial, just to understand, you know?
Sure.
So it's not easy to collaborate, or you know, to be a part of something like a Gucci or an LVMH or a Versace or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not easy, right? They have a lot of due diligence, they'll have a lot of processes.
Correct.
How did all this happen 20 years back or 25 years back when you started this entire thing? How did you get into this? Just because.
Yeah. So the business dates back to 92. It's when my dad started the business. So it's a family business. I'm the second generation in the business. And we were into the business of visual merchandising. That's where we started. And back then we started working with the electronic brands. And it was all the rage when it was, they were selling digital cameras. LED TVs were just starting to make the entry into the scene. So we were very much doing some of the, let's say, visually appealing elements within the store. And the same brands then asked us to build the stores themselves, because they saw the quality that we could build within the visual merchandising space, and they said, okay, why don't you expand your offering and do a bit more for us? And that's how this journey started into the interior space. And when I came into the business right out of university, my dad needed the extra hand. The business was growing fast. And I saw that there was this niche that, we could probably capitalize on and sort of make our mark in it. And it was also a personally interesting space, because you get to also, learn from all these brands and the way they've set standards in everything that they do. This is really what has I mean, in a very brief, in summary, what the journey has been like. And to talk to you a bit more about what I guess the question is also a bit about what it takes to work with these brands.
Absolutely.
So wanting to work with them and actually working with them at miles apart. But it is also about having the intent, getting a foot in the door, and then there's only one person who dictates the terms. It's usually the brands. They're the ones who tell you what they want. They've set standards from their headquarters, usually out of Europe. Most of the luxury brands have originated there, the ones that we've mentioned in this podcast so far as well. And they usually set standards that you need to prescribe to, and you need to sort of prove to them that you can get there. So it is showing them the processes that can that can convince them that you're a potential player. And then from there, it's also really a partnership about them onboarding you, training you through their expectations. And then some of it is trial and error, some of it is actually graduating from a small store to a larger store, and so on.
So I always had this in my mind, so it's definitely something, as you rightly said, it is something which is dictated by the OEM, the so-called, the original, what we call as the OEM. So they probably dictate everything, right from your sizes, your color scheme, your combination, the materials, or everything is probably. But is there a time when you also are part of that discussion for the blueprint, sitting over there? Look, this could be an easier thing to do. Because you have been doing this for a long time, and your experience in this probably would be to give them an idea, also saying that, look, this combination is probably a better combination than this. Do you also do that, or is it like a prescribed?
So I would say that in the initial days it was very much a prescribed thing, and we'll tell you, you just go execute. And I think over the period of time, the brands have understood the local realities might be a bit different.
Right.
some of the materials, for example, you're specifying a wooden finish that is found from the forests in Europe.
Right.
And it doesn't make sense for them from,
Absolutely.
let's say now a sustainability point of view, but also sometimes just a cost point of view.
Right.
To import it in and then use it, and it doesn't react the same way to the weather here, for example. So these are some like very small nitty-gritties that go into discussing localization.
Right.
Of the last, over the last decade or so, like they have become more open to understanding what works locally.
Right.
The malls also set some of the standards, so it's really a combination of the brand guideline, the mall guidelines, and then from us as a fit out partner, we also talk about how the execution could work based on the cost as well as the timeline.
I was about to say that.
So the quality is sort of non-negotiable, but the other two sort of remains somewhat flexible. And then we get to give them the inputs on what could make or break the store in terms of cost and timeline.
Fantastic.
And then they get the option of do you want to do imports, do you want to airship,
right,
do you want to
localize
it a bit more. And of course, again, through all of this, it remains paramount that the quality becomes non-negotiable.
So that's
and when the store opens, the everyday customer should not notice the difference.
Right. So I have had the opportunity. So being part of luxury, I had the opportunity to do a course with LVMH, inside LVMH.
Wow.
So I did a course with LVMH, and I think 75% of that course is about sustainability.
Okay.
So it's only the 25% where they talk about all the other parameters of experience and your color scheming and your various, but 75% is about sustainability. When you talk about sustainability, I think they talk about a 360-degree sustainability.
Right.
And one of the key elements of sustainability for them is transparency.
Yes.
I think right from what sort of material you use to whether you are indulging in the right kind of manpower. Are you doing a child labor, or are you doing the right kind of, are you paying the right wages?
Yes.
Is your workshops and is your factories having the right kind of environment for a person to work?
Yes.
Believe me when I tell you the 75% of the course was that.
Right.
So my question to you over here is, when I go through the course, for me, being a person from India, is it even possible?
It doesn't really.
Is it even possible? You're talking so much. You shouldn't use this. You shouldn't do that. You should have transparency. You should have codes.
Yes.
It's good to do it. It's fantastic, and it's absolutely necessary that you need to do it.
Yes.
But in reality, does it happen? Do you? So you being a vendor for most of them, how do you see this? How do you follow all these? Do they do an audit with you? Do you understand all these, what they're doing? Because I think that is a key element going forward. I think that's going to be another big step in the luxury segment. Sustainable luxury is probably what everybody is looking at.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, it's a very hot topic. Sustainability. It's been, I would say, it's gathered steam since the last 3 years. It's really picked up, and audits are like non-negotiable as well for these brands now, and almost yearly these audits happen. So there are two types of audits from what you talked about. One is like the social audit, which is like compliance, and that they're not building in a sweatshop. Basically, that you're paying the right wages, you're paying the right overtime, that your people are staying in good conditions. So this is one aspect to it, and the other aspect is sustainability, which is usually down to the materials that you use and some of the environmental impacts of the pre and post manufacturing, or during manufacturing as well. Where are your emissions and things like that? So when it comes to codes and things like that, it's really a work in progress. There is not, I'm not aware of there being like a fully green store today.
Exactly.
And it's simply because, on one side there is the cost aspect. So you have to choose between 30-40% increase in cost of, and that's per square meter. When that multiplies, it adds up across materials. And on some aspects, there simply isn't the green alternative yet. And a lot of these materials are sometimes not even locally available. So then again, when you import, then you're again, you can say it's green at the end of the project, but the fact that you've actually flown it in or shipped it in from another country makes it not sustainable. So it's something that the brands have realized. I mean, they started with this objective of let's go green, we need everything green. You guys figure out a way to do it, we'll give you some guidelines. And it's become more of a conversation and a partnership in understanding what is actually possible in terms of sustainability, and what is the progress we can make year on year. So it's about increasing the proportion or the percentage of green materials used. And in some cases, because it's not only down to the fit out, so sometimes, for example, when we worked on the Abu Dhabi airport and stores there, they were going for a LEED certification, a platinum LEED certification. And this was unheard of in this market. And so to meet those standards, you'd have to make sure that every component of the furniture is compliant as well to these standards.
Wow.
So that means that every piece of wood going in, every piece of acrylic, every piece of LED lighting had to be of a certain quality standard as well as a certain sustainability standard, so that it all qualifies towards the end goal of the airport being certified. So similarly, at a store level, it's about all the furniture and shop fit that we do, but there are also other aspects that is influenced by the mall. For example, it could be the supply of the AC, how much power is available in the store, and all those other aspects.
So you have a factory over here which does your fabrication and things like that over here. So you have just one factory, or how does your entire process work? So you get if you could just give us an idea of you get an order from, say, one of these fighter brands, and where do you start and how the process goes through, and what are the kind of say, for example, just for my understanding, you said maybe you might have to import something from Europe, or maybe some material, maybe a leather or maybe a wood or something. How do you get all these organized? Just give us a brief about that.
I'll do that. So when it comes to our factories, so we have two factories. One is a 150,000 square feet based in Dubai, and it's our headquarters as well. And this is where we manufacture majority of what we produce. And just 4 years back, we've also started our first factory in Saudi Arabia, which is becoming the other hotspot for retail to boom. And it's also a local mandate to manufacture more locally. So the brands have also asked us to be part of that conversation, and this is why we've started there. So in terms of the process, so where we come into the process right after a lease is signed. So let's say you walk into a Dubai mall, you're a luxury brand, you've signed your store lease, and you've said, okay, you get 90 days, 120 days on on the shorter side, and then sometimes goes up to even 6 months for the larger stores. And they say that you guys need to go ahead and execute. And that's when the brand architects or the store designers come and tell us this is what we are looking to execute.
So they give you an idea,
a concept. So in a lot of cases, especially with the larger brands, they control the design very heavily in house. So they've had discussions probably a year up to when they've reached us. So it's quite developed in terms of design at that stage, and also the guidelines are quite very tightly controlled by them. And there are brands, let's say newer brands coming into the market that are more open, in which case we get involved also at the design stage. But now we're talking about like very core luxury, so they do a lot of the design themselves, but it might still be at a concept stage, which means you're looking at renders. So it's
absolutely. So you do the rendering part also.
Correct. We also have a team that works on renders. So once the renders are ready, then we get to help with developing the technical aspect of it. So how do we build it? So how do we build it in a Europe versus a China versus an India versus Dubai? Differs. Some part is the material aspect. The other parts are like the manufacturing capabilities. The other things are speed and so on. So various factors that contribute to that. But now once the brand is come in, we usually start with the tendering stage, which is like making sure that the costs are aligned, and then we go into the technical development, which is like I would say the most critical part, because we are on paper, on drawings, talking about how this is going to be built. And once the client signs off on that, that's when it goes into the manufacturing, and that's where it the real rubber hits the road. in terms of making sure that everything that's been discussed up to date has, comes to life in reality. So that's when it takes taking, physical form.
Right.
And this is when we go into processing the wooden panels, the metal panels, and the paint work, the acrylic work, and all of this happens under one roof. So a bit more about the process inside our factory. So the way we've built it is custom. It's all custom manufacture, and the way we've built our factory is very much aligned to the needs of a custom shop fit requirement. So it's very tailored to what any bespoke shop requires. So we start with briefing these technical details that have been approved to the production teams. And within the factory, each of these departments process different materials. So there's like factory in factory to some extent. So like say there's a room 3-4 times the size of this one, where they go into processing the metalwork. And then there's another department that's slightly larger that's processing all the woodwork. And then once each of them have done their part within the drawing, then it comes together. So we have like an area in the center of the factory, which we call the final assembly area. And it's sort of, we've tried to recreate a mall environment. So it's fully air conditioned, high lumen lighting. Where it comes together, so you can actually inspect the store before it gets into the mall. And it's good for the client to come. Sometimes they come in with their products, they trial it. What you've seen in drawing is different just because of the scale.
But are all these flat packs? How does
yes. So I mean it works multiple ways. So what you want to do a lot of times is also avoid a lot of time on site, because the site comes with its own limitations in terms of logistics as well as timelines of working on site. So you want to minimize that as much as possible, especially when you have the backing of a factory of the scale. In which case we pre-assemble most of it and then move it in store. But whenever we export, then we also have the fact of reducing the number of shipments that we make. So we sort of find the right balance between making it a knockdown and pre-assembling. So it's, let's say, partial assembly, and then it goes to site and gets
fully assembled. So you do work only in UAE right now, or because I've seen your website, you have some presence in Africa and things like that?
Correct. Yeah. So I would say over the last couple of years, it's become a global stage, so we are able to do projects across the world. But I would say predominant projects would be found across Middle East, Africa, and very recently also, because the Indian market has boomed now in the luxury segment. So there's some nice malls like the Geo World.
You have done some projects there also.
So we've done some boutiques there. So
very nice.
Because the brands have, this is for us, like Dubai is very close to India in terms of geography. So they have used this opportunity to source from here, just because we've been used to building them or doing rollouts for these brands. So they've used their expertise. So we've seen interest in the domestic market, but also in the duty-free stores, where the specifications, the requirements are even more unique. So we've done projects in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore airports.
Fantastic. So you also have so there are, I think my understanding, you also have permanent fixtures which happen in these outlets, or you go to one of these other. But then there are seasonal changes which happen, which I see. Say for example, I fly from Bangalore to Dubai. It's Christmas, so the outfit the shop looks totally different. And if you look at if it is another Eid or Ramadan, it looks very different. So are you also part of that thing, or that is a different team altogether?
Yeah, it is a different team. We do have a team dedicated to doing some of those, and it's mostly for the brands that build the stores with us. So it's an area that we've sort of graduated from. So when I talked about visual merchandising at the beginning of the conversation,
I was asking you that.
It's a bit more focused there. That said, there's a dedicated team that builds pop-up stores. And that is more promotional activities. So as you mentioned, it's like festive, but also the other aspect of these stores are like product launches, or seasonal campaigns. So a fashion brand, for example, has 4 launches in a year every quarter. And then they'll use a pop-up sometimes to, accentuate it further. So it's to say that we have a store nearby, but come have a look, experience it in this pop-up. There might be, some influencer at the store at this pop-up. And that enables, the hype to be created. But that is also a very interesting space. and we do part of it. But
Okay.
our core focus
is,
has
okay.
been building the
Okay.
permanent store,
Okay.
because that's where the quality and the precision at which we build
Okay,
gets really adds value.
Yeah. So you talk about so when you talk about luxury, I think there are a lot of things that come into mind.
Yes.
So one is direct synonymous of luxury is fashion.
Yes.
I guess fashion brands are probably directly related to luxury,
Yeah.
and then you have the likes of lifestyle, say for example, La Villeroy and Boch, or I don't know, the brands which are into lifestyle kind of
Yes,
thing.
perhaps.
Then you have something like what we do. You
Yes.
have your cars, your automobiles. Then you have real estate.
Yes.
Today you talk about real estate, wherein you have the Bugattis and the things of the world,
Collaborations, yeah.
collaborations with the most fanciest of. Now these are all different, I would say, verticals or different wings of the same thing called as luxury.
Yes.
Now you do only the fashion, cosmetics, that element, or you are also part of the other luxury, because I don't know whether you do for an automotive brand, do you do it for a real estate brand, do you do or is it purely a fashion kind of thing?
So fashion and beauty have been like the core drivers.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say beauty has been more like where we've sort of made the bread and butter,
Right.
and then fashion has been more recently where the growth has come from.
Right.
We're also looking at some things like eyewear, like Luxottica is a client
okay.
that they're building stores for the specific brands where they have
Right.
high visibility.
Right.
So that's one of the other segments.
Right.
But you're also talking about wines and spirits, for example.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is also a
Yeah.
aspect. In terms of, talking about automobiles, for example, like an ideal space that we would build would probably not be a showroom,
Okay.
because that's more about the scale of the
Right.
showroom, and then the cars take the center stage.
Right.
But if you're talking about an experience center or a car launch,
Understood. Yeah.
where you're talking about one specific car, and then there's a lot of other elements that go around it, where people are lounging and things like that.
Nice.
So it's not something that we've had the opportunity to do yet, but it's
Yeah.
very much within our
Capabilities.
space.
Okay.
So it is. So anything that requires, like I said, we do bespoke manufacturing.
Yeah.
So when we talk about real estate, we are talking about doing like that show apartment,
Yeah.
which would make
Yeah.
you want to buy,
Understood.
100 other people want to buy.
Right.
And then even for the real estate company, it makes sense to go to somebody who does more mass production.
Right.
At a certain quality, of course, but then the production line comes into
Understood.
picture compared to custom build.
Yeah, understood.
But yeah, it's very much within the realm. So you could even talk about like doing a lounge for an Emirates for first class passengers.
Yeah, absolutely. So
all of which go into this kind of bespoke.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So now getting a little bit more, I would say, off the serious topic.
Yes.
How does your weekends look like? What are your hobbies? What do you do? Because what we spoke about sounded so serious. To
Yes.
be very honest, there's so much of seriousness in the whole discussion about luxury, and I'm for sure I think it is a very serious matter that can be discussed also, because it's something which is growing at very large scale right now. Your disposable income across the globe is going up so high.
Yes.
And consumers are looking at luxury space in much larger way than it used to be before. When I was a kid, we never knew what luxury was, but today I think my son, or I'm sure your children and your people around you, they know what luxury is. They want to use the best of products. So I think the discussion on luxury has reached. Now, keeping all that aside, what do you do? How does your weekend look like? And such a phenomenal amount of professional work you do. But how do you relax? How do you break free from all these pressures and tensions? What do you do?
Sure. So I would say like over a period of time, work has become less pressure and more pleasure in terms of being able to deliver with these brands and sort of coming to terms with how this works, so that makes it more fun to looking forward to the next exciting project. So that's certainly one part of it. But weekends are usually, at the same time, the work does keep you busy through the week, and you should unwind on the weekend. So it's usually catching up with the family, trying a new restaurant.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, Dubai is also a hot pot for.
So you a foodie?
Yes,
Oh,
I would.
you don't
I mean,
look one, but.
yeah, yeah, managed to keep fitness.
So fitness is part of
happening.
your.
I think I eat the right portions
is it?
when I go to a new place. But no, I mean, jokes apart, in terms of the food scene, I mean, it's also happened that Dubai has become such a melting pot for cultures, and because of that, food from all around the world has come. So it's been nice to go and try every other cuisine.
Do you also travel a lot?
I would say I do, because I mean, since we've started the Saudi operation, I mean, Saudi has been one of the travel locations that I've been going to more often.
Right.
And in terms of leisure travel, yes, I try to do a couple of times a year. So pick any country. It's just nice to go and see other parts of the world, and get like.
And I think with the brands that you deal with, it's all the more important that you visit probably Europe and things like that, to understand headquarters and things like that, which in itself might be an experience of its own, right?
True. The pre-qualification sometimes happens there. Sometimes you meet the decision makers.
Right.
There are then delegating sort of the final decision on whom to build the stores with, and things like that.
Right.
So that's certainly part of the work.
Okay.
But a lot of the brands have because of the importance of the region now, have located regional headquarters here. So many of the conversations have become local.
Okay.
But that said, there's still like the power center is still where the headquarters are, and then we do get the chance to go and interact with those guys.
I sell cars, I sell Mercedes, and for me, when you ask, you sell Mercedes, do you drive a Mercedes?
Yes.
Is a question what people always ask me. So same thing with you. You do work with the likes of Louis Vuitton. You do works with Gucci's, the YSLs of the world, the Luxottica you were talking about.
Absolutely.
Do you use these brands, or is it something which you say, okay, let me do the work, but I have my own things which I use on a daily basis? Do you use these brands?
No, I don't actually. I mean, it's not really that. I need to think of this a bit better. But what I would say is that, like, I'm not the first person experiencing the brands. I'm usually appreciating it as a second person.
Right.
So I do very much, let's say, pay attention to the kind of detail they go into, even in building their own product.
Right.
Because it serves as an inspiration for the kind of work we do.
Right.
But I prefer a more understated luxury. So, like, you don't see me, don't see any brands on me today.
No. Yeah. So that's probably why I asked you this question too.
Yes.
The reason why I asked you this question is, one is you show your luxury. You walk around with luxury all around.
Yes.
And the moment you walk out, this guy is, but then the other one is a person who knows what luxury is.
Yes.
But for you, as you rightly said, it's an understated thing. For me, luxury is being me. Luxury is doing what I do. Yes. Luxury is probably personalizing, which I feel is super important, is probably personalizing my requirements to my taste.
Absolutely.
Right from colors to right from this thing. Just because a big brand is giving you, let me not wear it. But I don't like the color, but still it's a big brand wearing it. So people who do it are there. It's a big brand, so I buy it and wear it.
Yes.
But I would probably prefer something of my choice, right? So I think you fall in that second category where your preferences form to be priority than going for a luxury brand as such.
Yes, I'd say so. Yeah. So I mean, there are cases where a luxury brand makes sense to me from in terms of just the quality of product, the longevity of having to use it. So it's something that you use daily, like eyewear. I would probably invest in a branded eyewear.
True.
Just because of, I mean, the design is one aspect. So again, it's something that I would I like indulging in, like looking at good design and appreciating it sometimes, like being a consumer of it. And on the other hand, like I said, it was more about like what will last, what will be durable, what you don't have something peeling off in a year's time. So it's more about, like, I wouldn't say a long-term investment, but more about like it's good for day-to-day use. And it wears well, which is usually some of the luxury brands do it very well, because they've mastered the art of making sure things last as well.
So that brings me to the next question. There are so many new luxury brands coming up,
Yeah.
so-called luxury, which doesn't have the pedigree or which doesn't have the ethos or whatever they want to. They're aspiring to become a global. So luxury brands probably they are today because of their rich cultural heritage and
Absolutely.
pedigree what they have.
Yes.
Whichever brand you take today,
Yes.
right from whichever brand. So it's not just a 3-year brand or a 4. It's also hundreds of years of
Yeah.
what they do, they have done, and they have reached the stage where. But then there are today those new brands which is aspiring to reach the luxury stage, right?
Yes.
Compete with the luxury stage.
Yes.
So what is your take on that? So because the reason why I'm asking you is all the brands which we today claim to be a luxury brand have a pedigree, have a rich background to them.
Right.
But there are newcomers, new entrants. Typically, for example, I'm talking about is your spirits and liquors.
Yes.
You have the Moet Hennessy and things like that, which have a history behind it. Which
Absolutely,
has
yes.
got a lot, and they've reached that stage because of the rich history. But then there are new brands which come in claiming to be equally good. And so, what is your take on all that?
Yeah, so I would say that there is a space for new brands to come into the industry. You're right that like it's dominated by the players who've been around for years,
Right.
and that also means that they have the financial muscle to be present at the best locations to make the most noise in the market.
Right.
But you also see brands that are coming in and redefining the product itself.
Right.
So bringing some innovation to the product. Durability, another thing is something that that they're also able to crack better.
Right.
Let's say better manufacturing techniques. Sustainability is another one
Yeah,
that has
yeah.
won people over. So maybe you don't define it as luxury, but it's like in the premium or beyond premium class.
Right.
That people are able to appreciate that if this is not doing so much harm to the world I live in,
Right.
I would consider this brand over a brand that
Absolutely,
might
yeah.
have practices
Yeah,
that are questionable. So there's certainly space for it, and also the next generation is not seeing luxury the same way that
Absolutely,
the current generation is seeing.
So I think this is also one thing which I always understood, because the earlier brands, what I'm talking about, the legacy brands,
Yes.
like your Gucci's and the LVMHs,
Yes.
the legacy brands also today try to reach out to a the new decision makers, the new.
Yes.
With one set is their used division. Most of
Yes.
these guys have now this used
yeah.
pre-owned merchandise.
True.
The second thing is collaborating with a mass brand.
Yes.
Say for example, Gucci had a collaboration with Adidas.
True.
So Adidas is a mass brand. So
Yes.
now how, and they have made it so now these collaborations also teach you something, saying that luxury brands also need to look forward to reaching out to, as you rightly said, reaching out to the new gen. So the new gen's thought process of luxury is very different from the old gen.
Yes.
So
yes.
an old gen may be a hardcore fan of luxury, but the new gen might not. So that collaboration might make. Do you also think that's true for this entire thing?
Yeah, so I think those collaborations are sort of opening the door to these consumers who might have felt that those are unaffordable products for us,
right?
Or that or just simply that it's not interesting from a design perspective, and coming and collaborating with a shoe brand or any of those more trendy brands just gives you a new touch point, and where you get the right price point,
right,
and able to open up that market to your brand. There's always a risk of diluting the brand as well.
Exactly.
So it's a very fine line, and I think the luxury brands are very, very cautiously treading that path. Another trend that is very prevalent now is entering the market through a cafes brand. So you have branded cafes, and so where the price point
Tiffany and Co and all those they have branded cafes.
Exactly. So a lot of the fashion brands as well as the makeup, sometimes even jewelry brands are doing collaborations with really nice coffee shops.
Right.
So then you have consumers of all age who are able to sort of, get a touch point with those
And I think the
brands.
experience also, I think it's more of giving and storytelling and an experience which
Absolutely.
plays a huge role on.
Yeah.
By the way, just for the viewers, he might look like a foreign Arab sitting over here. He's a Mallu, hardcore Malayali from Kerala.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
give us a brief about Kerala. How often do you visit Kerala? How is because
Yeah.
we love Kerala. We are a Mallu. We all are part of a culture which is probably inculcated in our blood.
Yes.
Being called as Mallu is something which we are absolutely proud to be.
Yes.
So give us a background. Do you have somebody back home? Do you visit Kerala?
Yeah, so Cherpulesheri is home in Kerala.
Fantastic.
And growing up, I used to visit at least a couple of times a year. So usually
Right.
it's like the summer break
Right.
when we get away from school.
Right.
And then sometimes towards the end of the year when there's like another break, which is sort of the winter break
Right.
here. And I've spent years growing up there. Cousins used to be around, so we
Right.
used to look forward to catching up with them.
Right.
Grandparents were there
Okay.
at the time. So and now it's reduced a bit, but yeah, between Cherpulesheri and my wife's house is in Trivandrum, so I get to visit a new city in Kerala and see another side of Kerala, I guess. So Cherpulesheri is more the quiet town, and Trivandrum is more the up and coming city. So it's a nice thing, and I mean I'm also.
So your dad came to Dubai. Was he the first time, or his dad was?
No, he was the first timer here. So yeah, they all moved out, looking at the Gulf dream, as they call it, and yeah, he had he moved here back in '89.
Oh, nice.
And has been here since, but. I mean, Dubai is not short of any Malayalis or. The Mallu culture is very much, strong here.
So you don't have any siblings. Your brother.
I do.
Oh, okay. So he's into business with you?
No. So my sister is the next one after me, and she's recently joined the business. She's done her graduation, and she's worked with the Big Four in Canada.
Okay.
So she's finished that, and she's also started a venture along with us. So we have another. A business that is focused on the luxury design industry.
Oh, nice.
Which is more focused on the residential F&B side. So we're also designing and executing residential spaces which are villas, penthouses.
Nice.
5-star hotel, restaurants.
Okay.
So this is like a new segment that
we
are.
Right.
Yeah, and it's in collaboration with. Very famous Indian designer Sara Sham.
Oh, okay.
So she runs ECG's Atelier based out of Mumbai.
Right.
So this is something that my sister is also doing, but she also serves as a director at ABRA.
Okay.
So
how did the name ABRA come?
There isn't a lot of history to the name as such.
Okay.
But back in the day, you used to have the choice of having an Arabic name.
Okay.
So it started as Al Abra Advertising Design Production. And
so Arab became Abra.
Yes.
So you have Arab, A-R-A-B, it's become A-B.
Yeah, you could say. Yeah, but I mean, my dad had some good takes on name, like our website in the past used to be called Abracadabra.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also, played with it as an acronym, so we had absolutely better results in advertising. So it was more like this segment, which was retail, shop fitting, and fit outs were not a specialized industry. So we fell under the larger advertising banner because you're somehow promoting products and things like that. But then
Your wife is part of business? Does she?
No, she's not. She's a IT professional, and she works with the Astor Group.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So
the medical. Okay.
Correct.
Very nice. And your children?
No kids yet.
Oh, okay. So a long way to go. So you have a huge. I think
that's a luxury. Yes, you have to explore.
So I think we are covered with most of my serious and non-serious questions for Anand. I think it's been wonderful to have you, sir.
Same here.
It's a pleasure to talk to you for the last half an hour or so.
Yes.
And I think being part of luxury always have a soft corner for me.
Sure.
Because I honestly I believe in luxury because of one simple reason. I believe that luxury is very different for everybody. For a commoner, where going to school might be a luxury, right? So I think luxury is part of everybody's life, is what I very personally feel.
Okay.
But I think at some stage people misunderstand luxury to be, pricey and something valuable and all that. But I think there are luxury in everybody's life.
Sure.
Having food in one of our finer restaurants must be luxury. Driving a finer car must be luxury.
Yes.
Driving a common car might be a luxury. So I think for me, luxury has been part of my life throughout. And talking to somebody and your insights about luxury is really amazing. And from Bridgeway, from my personal side, we wish you all success.
Thank you.
And we hope and pray that you have fantastic growth in your business. Do let us know when you're back home in Kerala. We will definitely like to host you.
Sure.
We have some fine food joints across Kerala. We will try to take you to some nice places. We also have estates, coffee estates. We are into coffee estate. We have tea estates. I'm sure you know. I think we can take you all over the place and show you what Kerala is all about, because motherland is motherland.
Yes.
So I think that's important. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And keep smiling. Have a great day ahead, great life ahead. And it was fantastic to meet you.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.